friends, my name is Mrs. Googe and I am a second grade teacher at Bluegrass Elementary. Today I need your help if you would like to help me solve a mystery. Have you ever solved a mystery before? It can be really fun. Today we're going to be looking at this book called The Sleuth. Can you say that? Sleuth. A sleuth is someone who solves mysteries, kind of like a detective. So today, you and I, if you like, are going to act as sleuths. That's hard to say. Sleuths. And we are going to solve a mystery by looking for clues inside of a text. Okay, so let's check out this opening letter and then we will get started. Dear Junior Sleuth Hound, mysteries are all around. There could be a mystery on your playground. There could be a mystery in a faraway land. There could be mysteries between the pages of this book. So what do you do to solve a mystery? Become a sleuth hound. Thinking about sleuth hound, a hound dog is a dog they use to solve mysteries. So a sleuth and a hound is someone that looks for clues to solve a mystery. Look for clues. Ask interesting questions, then put all of the pieces back together. This book will give you a chance to practice skills that the sleuths use. As you read this book, use the super sleuth steps, that's a tongue twister, to find answers to some really big questions. Good luck. Okay, so the super sleuth steps, that's hard to say. There are 4 of them, and they're important to know. The first one is to look for clues. We're going to look back through the text for clues. They can be anywhere from inside of the text or in the pictures or illustrations that surround the text or even in text features that you might see. A good sleuth writes down or draws pictures to help them remember those clues. The second step is to ask questions. A good sleuth is curious and always wants to find out more. So ask questions as we go along. That's something that good readers do as well. Number 3, make your case. Look at all of the clues that we've gathered and summarize what you know. Use what we already know to think of our own ideas and form an opinion about something. Tell what you think. And number 4, the most important step is to prove it. You need to show what you have learned and share what you think by using text evidence to support your answers. Okay, let's get started. Thinking about this unit that we're in, Unit 4, we have one big essential question that we're trying to answer. The essential question is thinking about how do things change? So, how have things changed in your life so far? I think we've all had a lot of change that we've experienced. Our schedule is a little bit different than it usually is. That's okay though, right? So, thinking about how our world has changed, we're going to take that thought and that question and we're going to bring it with us as we read the text. Okay, our 2 purposes for reading or our 2 jobs. There's that big unit essential question again. What changes, that word change, what changes are happening in the story? So how are things changing in this story? Number 2, our purpose for reading. This is a big one. How do the characters, here's this word, communicate. Can you say that word? Communicate. How do the characters communicate with each other? To communicate means to share information or pass information back and forth. So I am communicating with you right now by talking. Do you always talk to communicate? Or can you communicate in other ways as well? So these are our 2 purposes for reading, what we're looking for in our text today. Okay, one more time. Number 1, the big one. What changes are happening? And number 2, how do the characters communicate? Here is our text, finally. It is called The Blank Book. I want you guys to read along with me, and we're going to stop along the way to ask questions. And then at the end, I have 3 challenges for you. Okay, here we go. The blank book. Elias's dad was in the army. He was leaving home to be stationed in another country. As he said goodbye, Dad gave Elias a book. I want you to read this when you get home, Dad said. So I'm already seeing some change. Let's pause. What has already changed in our character's life? His dad lived at home with him, and now because of his job, he is going to stay somewhere else for a little while. Okay, let's continue. Elias didn't feel like reading, but he opened the book anyway. And what a surprise! Every page was blank except the first one. There, Dad explained that they would take turns writing in the book, mailing it back and forth while Dad was gone. So what do you think they're going to be writing about? Why would he leave blank pages? Elias began writing immediately, telling his dad how much he missed him. And then he mailed the book. 3 weeks later, the book came back. Dad wrote about a market he had visited. He described the sharp, spicy smells and bright, patterned carpets. Ooh, those are some great words that I can use to visualize what's happening where his dad is living. Sharp, spicy smells. I've never used the word sharp to describe a smell, have you? Must be something that catches his attention right away. And those bright, patterned carpets, I can just picture them, can you guys? He described the warm, buttery bread he tried. Elias and his dad wrote often. Dad described what life was like on the base. Sometimes he invented silly stories or drew neat pictures. Elias wrote about home and school. He drew colorful pictures. They had to get another book before long, and another after that. When Dad came home, he had a new book with him. I thought we could keep going, Dad said, grinning. Elias nodded. This was definitely a tradition that he wanted to keep. What a great story. Okay, so let's go back to our purposes for reading today. 2 things that we were working to find or to answer. I know we've only read it once, so feel free to go back and reread again. Number 1, how did things in Elias's life change? So at the beginning we mentioned that his dad lived with him and then had to go somewhere far away for a little bit. Did anything else change in his life? Go back to the text and reread. Number 2, how did Elias and his dad, there's that word, communicate with each other? At first, when they lived together, how did they communicate? They would talk to each other just like you and I would, right? And then when he moved far away, they had to do something else to communicate. What was that? Think about that book that they were using. How did they communicate using the book? Have you ever communicated in that way? Here are your 3 sleuth challenges. Are you ready? Number 1, you're going to have to go back to the text and find clues to show how Elias's writing in the book and his dad's writing in the book were similar or the same, and also how they were different. This is a hard one. Number 2, I want you to think about what questions you might ask someone if they lived far away like Elias's dad. If you were writing a letter or a note to Elias's dad asking him about where he lived, what sorts of questions would you ask to help you understand what he's going through or where he's living? Number 3, here's the big challenge. Where's my number 3? There it is. Number 3, using text evidence or those small pieces of information in our text. I want you to explain what you think the best way to communicate with someone who is far away would be. If you had friends or family that lived far away from you, how would you choose to communicate with them? And why do you think that that would be the best way? Would you communicate like Elias and his dad by writing letters? Or would you choose a different way? So there are your 3 challenges. I hope that you go back and reread the text and take those challenges. Thank you so much for spending time with me, and I hope that you all stay well and safe and happy. Thank you.